Readers Entertainment Radio presents Booklights with your host, author Lisa Kessler. Booklights, where we're shining a light on good books.
Hello, everyone. Can you believe it's already June? Where did 2026 go? Anyway, summer is coming and everyone needs new summer reads. And you guys are in for a treat today because we have a fantastic book to talk about. We have author Priya Parmar with me, and she is the author of a new book called The Original, which is a novel about Katherine Hepburn. She has also written Vanessa and Her Sister, which is the sister of, I believe, Virginia Woolf. And she's also the co-author of the musical Sylvia, which was nominated for an Olivier Award for Best Original Musical. So, and you all know I have a music background, so I'm very excited. We can chat about that too. She believes in rescuing animals, veganism, protecting the ocean, and stories. She splits her time between Hawaii and Connecticut with her family and 4 rescue dogs. You can learn more at her website, priyaparmar.net. And I did put a link to that in the show notes, so you can click it anytime, sign up for her newsletter, and follow her on social media. And without any further delay, you there, Priya?
I'm here.
Yay, I'm so excited to have you on. Your book sounds fantastic. Can you tell everybody a little bit about it and why they should go grab a copy?
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. It's the story of a young Katherine Hepburn, sort of before she became the icon we remember. She's fiercely independent, she's young, she's grieving, she's coming out of a terribly, terribly traumatic situation that happened when she was young. And she's off to Hollywood to try and make her name as an actor. And it's not the sort of smooth road I thought it was. It was very bumpy and very, very fun to write.
Yeah, when you were writing the original, I'm sure you did lots of research on Katherine Hepburn, but is she the narrator of the story, or did you add someone fictional in there to tell it?
There isn't anyone fictional, but I have the city of Los Angeles narrating.
Oh,
Yes. And then it's actually a roving third person. So Cary Grant, he has a perspective. Randolph Scott, Cary Grant's lover, has a perspective. Um, Laura Harding, who's Katherine Hepburn's lover, Howard Hughes, has a perspective. Yeah. So it was a really fun cast of characters to be writing about.
so what inspired you to take this on? Have you always been a Katherine Hepburn fan, or?
I have always been a Katherine Hepburn fan. I've always loved her. Um, but I was watching the Philadelphia Story with my mom, and we'd seen it so many times. It's one of my favorite films. And out of nowhere, she sort of said, she just said this was her comeback movie. And I was really surprised. I didn't ever think of her as someone who had anything to come back from. She's kind of, she's won more Oscars than anybody ever. Her record's still unbroken. She's this icon. And I didn't ever think of her as having made any kind of a misstep where she would have a fall from grace. And it turns out that I was very, very wrong. And so I fell down a rabbit hole. I started Googling, and then I started ordering books. And then I was like, oh no, I'm actually doing this. I'm writing about this person I love. So it was a something that I was nervous about taking on, but in the end, I was very, very happy to be living in her world for that time.
Yeah. Well, did you have any? Obviously, you were surprised that she had a comeback, but were there other surprises when you were researching that you're like, what?
So many, so many. I didn't know that she had, I'd heard rumors about bisexuality. I didn't know she'd gone out to Hollywood with a woman and with a husband at home who no one knew about. I didn't know there'd ever been a husband. I didn't know, I knew bits about her love affair with Howard Hughes, but I really didn't understand how profound it was. There were so many, and there were some really big kind of bombshells I found in the research that have kind of fallen away from um, her kind of, traditional biography, which I didn't know about at all. Now they're really going at it with the weed whackers. Is that like a problem? Can you hear it? Okay. Sorry. Sorry.
No, I don't hear anything. Just you.
Okay, great. Let
Uh,
me know if you do.
okay.
But yeah, so I there were some things that I found that had happened in this early part of her life, that I knew nothing about, and I was really shocked to find it. I was shocked to find out that she'd come from such, you know, deeply distressing trauma. She had sort of generational trauma on both sides. She had suicide just all over her family genealogy on both sides of her family, but then her immediate family, and this happens quite early in the book. Um, she found her brother when she was a young teenager. She found her older brother having committed suicide, and she's the one who discovered him.
Oh my gosh. Yikes. Wow. Wow. Well, I think it's interesting because I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a little docu-series now on Netflix called Titans, and it talks about the beginning of the movie studios and how they started. Have you seen?
Yeah.
Um, what surprised me was the shift in media. Because, like, when Katherine Hepburn started, her private life was her private life. I mean, they didn't, and the media was really curated by the studios. But throughout her life, didn't it shift at some point during then? And suddenly you didn't have any more secrets?
Yeah, and the landscape changed completely. The media landscape changed completely. Also, the sense of what the public had a right to know, the public's own sense of what they had a right to know shifted completely. And something, when she started in 1932, your private life was your private life, and that was your business.
Right.
And so while they would have liked her to tell them, you know, I have a husband and a girlfriend, and this is my home situation. It wasn't, you know, fatal that she hadn't told them. A little farther on in the 30s, and it was, really terrible that, that she, it wasn't that it was really terrible. It was that it was something that had to be managed very much for the public's consumption.
Yeah.
The public, I'm so sorry about the weed whackers. Like,
I
you can't hear them.
no.
Amazing. Okay. Um, so, uh, so then, so once you get um, a little farther on into the 30s, something called the production code came into existence, which was kind of an externally imposed morality, um, kind of censorship.
Right.
And that just brought an end to Hollywood as they all knew it. Before this, Hollywood had been this super progressive place where it wasn't uncommon to have a partner and an external love affair, and gender fluidity was very common, sexual fluidity was very common. These things were not anything anyone would have been surprised by. But as you got, with the advent of the production code, these things became
Taboo.
deeply, deeply taboo, deeply problematic for the studios. So it
Yeah.
was, and she didn't like, she really wanted to live an authentic life, and so she was not keen to have the studios all up in her business.
Right. Well, really, who would want that? But
Yeah,
yeah.
seriously.
Well, did you have when you went through, because anyone who's an author knows a million people read this before the book comes out, and you have
Yes.
a million rounds of edits, but throughout all of that, was there a scene that you really felt like the whole book was worth writing it? I mean, it's not a spoiler. Do you have a favorite scene from the book?
Oh goodness, there's so many. And there's some that are spoilers, but so
Yeah.
I won't talk about them, but
Yeah.
there are, yes, I mean, there's some there's some scenes when you're writing them that just fall into place in a way that just is the whole, that's the thing we wait for when we're writing is that feeling. And
Hmm.
it's rare, but when it happens, it's just this extraordinary ease. It's just sort of like everything's already written somewhere else and you're
Yeah,
just
you're just
taking notes.
downloading it. Yeah. Uh-huh. I
Yeah.
love
And it's such a great feeling. And it doesn't happen that often, but when it does, holy cow, is that nice.
it.
So yeah, there were scenes like that. There were scenes, the scene when she first got to Hollywood, the scene and she meets Irene Selznick, um, the scenes with Cary Grant, who had an entire back story, which I knew nothing about. Again, I can't say very much because of spoilers, but oh my
Right.
goodness, his life was also just not one that I was expecting at all. But I didn't know when I was doing all the research that he was going to play such a huge role. And then he just kept turning up on the page. And I was like, okay, you're,
Okay.
you know,
Have a
okay, you've got stuff to say. All right, you're here. And that was a lovely, lovely thing because he just was every time he turned up, it was just such a joy to write. And then I was so afraid when I went back through the edits, I would, and you go through that process and all those people read it, they would say, you know,
take. Oh, yeah.
she needs to cut, but they didn't. They were like, more Carrie, more Carrie. And I was like, okay, great.
Hey.
And they were one of the great screen pairings of the time. So their lives complemented each other perfectly. They were friends. They were, so it was all building to the same story, which is a lovely thing. It wasn't detracting from the story I was telling. It all turned out to be the story I was telling.
So when you're writing something on a historical person like this, do you feel pent in because you are trying to do the truth? I know this says it's a novel, so did you feel free enough to, make a plot?
Well, I feel like there's there's the history that
Right,
we know happened, and that's chronological dates. That's what we know. And then there's the story, which is all of the emotional underpinning that, all of the emotional reasoning, the logical reasoning, the moral reasoning for why things happened when they
right.
did. And so that's very much the novel part. But this novel was was really unusual in that I had to take out story because there was just too much. That's
Oh,
that's not something that happens very often where you're just like, this is, this is too much. This is
it's
too much
running away with me.
plot. Exactly. I mean, I'm just like, you know what? I mean, by the time Howard Hughes lands on his plane on the golf course in order to hang out with her, I'm just like, no, just no. You just need to be less dramatic, everybody. Everybody just needs, but so it was a lovely problem to have, was to have to, choose between, okay, do I want this amazing thing or do I want that amazing thing? There was just so much. These people were living extremely big and colorful lives.
Yeah, that truth is stranger than fiction. So obviously, if you put a plane landing on a golf course, you would have a bunch of people going, "No way!" But
Exactly. Exactly.
were there other crazy things you couldn't use because they were
Oh,
just too outlandish?
I mean, I ended up, I ended up having it in the book, but I ended up only using, a fraction
Bit.
of the thing rather than the whole story. Things like Howard Hughes, he went missing. He disappeared, and he was, probably the most famous man in America at this point. And
Wow.
he disappeared, and he quietly changed his name, and decided to work for a commercial airline for a
What?
while. Yeah. And I'm just like, who's going to believe that? What are you doing? Like, how is this? So there was just so many things like that. The Hepburn family, things like the Hepburn family all, wandered around nude at home because they were, he was a doctor. they all, and they just, and I was just like, what? My editor was like, she wrote in the margin, she's like, really? And I'm like, really? Like so there was a lot of things that were just incredible. And you have people like Katherine Hepburn's mother, who worked with Margaret Sanger and was speaking before Congress. And I mean, so everything, every aspect of her life was populated with these larger than life people doing incredible things. So it was a really, fun problem to have. But there were some things that I had to take out, like Leland Hayward, her agent, his stepmother traded her townhouse in New York for a perfect string of pearls. And I was like, I really wanted to have that in there. And then I'm just like, that's it's
It's too much.
too much. Just you could take your pearls and go over there. Just so there was, yeah, there was a lot to choose from. So,
Yeah. When you this obviously is your second book after Vanessa and Her Sister, but when you were doing Virginia Woolf, was it a similar process or how did that work?
well, they had a lot more, um, so Virginia Woolf famously kept a diary. A lot of the Bloomsbury group, they had diaries, they had letters, they all kept so much of their correspondence. So I
Right.
had more kind of first person primary documentation to
Okay.
work with. Here I had a lot of letters, but they weren't collected anywhere. So I'm just chasing around the country, finding all the letters. And so you'll have one half of it, but then the other person didn't keep the
Oh,
response. So you won't have, so it was more of a sort of a Swiss cheese type effect rather than, the Bloomsbury group where I think they were all very sure they were going to be famous and they all kept all their correspondence.
they all knew it would
They
matter.
all knew it would matter. Except for Vanessa Bell, who was the center, and I just had her letters, but she didn't keep a diary.
Okay.
And so Vanessa and Her Sister is Vanessa Bell's fictional diary.
Did you find it freeing writing the original to have a little more leeway since you didn't have all that documentation, or did you feel like now I'm writing without a net?
I felt like I felt worried. I think the thing that I found constraining wasn't because my research is so obsessive and I love it and that it really anchors me as a writer. So I didn't find that at all constraining. What I found constraining is the obsessive way that people loved her. That I felt like nervous about
You
letting
might
people
shatter people's perspective.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what worried me. But so far, everybody who really, who's a fanatic about her and has read it has been happy. So I'm fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with my last novel, it was um Vanessa Bell's and Virginia Woolf's family. They were super supportive and actually ended up writing the afterword to my UK paperback, which was lovely. Um,
Wow. That's amazing.
yeah. So that was lovely. And so starting over, and I wasn't able to contact the family. I tried, but they're very, very private. And it's different because she doesn't have direct descendants. So it was all a bit
Oh,
um
Katherine Hepburn never had any children?
she did not. It's something
Oh,
that this book takes on and addresses.
oh. So she just had like nieces and nephews and things like that. Okay.
Yeah, she had
Oh,
nieces and nephews. So her
well,
are still alive. So if you've ever seen Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, that's her niece who's starring in that.
oh, okay. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I I write paranormal fiction, but I always like to go there because I feel like if you make the reality as real as possible, it's easier to suspend your disbelief. So I always, when I go somewhere, I'll post my research adventures, adventures and book research.
Amazing.
Did you go on adventures? Did you travel around to different Katherine Hepburn places? What did you do?
I did. I did. I went to everywhere where she lived in this time frame. And then I
Mhm.
went to a couple of places where she lived outside this time frame because they weren't very far away. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't think, I mean, all of these houses are owned by other people now, and I don't think they were crazy about the idea of me sitting on their lawn. But,
Snooping
you know, me and my French bulldog, and hi, here we are, we're standing on your lawn. But everybody was very nice about it. And then the Katherine Hepburn Cultural Arts Center, which is also known as the Kate Museum,
Oh,
they were great, and really helpful. And they're in the town where she had a home all of her life.
so where is the Kate Museum if somebody gets excited and they want to go?
It's in Old Saybrook, Connecticut, and it's lovely. It's just down the road from her summer house.
Wow. Okay. So you live, aren't you in, didn't I read that?
I'm in Connecticut.
Oh,
Yes, I'm in Connecticut right now. So I'm about an hour and a half away from there. So I spent a lot of time there. And then the house she grew up in is so that was her summer house. And then the winter house they grew up in was in Hartford, Connecticut. And then everywhere else was in Los Angeles, which was, and
wow.
New York. New York was the other one. And that house came up for sale right as this book uh came out. And I think it may have sold now, but I got to go through it, which was lovely.
Ah, yay. I was going to ask, did your realtor let
Yes,
you?
I did. I made an appointment and I went through it as it like I cannot afford it, but did not tell them that. I just went through it.
Right, right. Yeah. Yay. Oh,
But it was really exciting to see, especially since the backyard, it's right next to Stephen Sondheim's house, which is
wow.
another person that I have always loved. So that was exciting to see. She used to take his plants right off of his porch when she used them for parties. I know. Just
Just borrow these.
you don't not invite him to the party, by the way. Just
Oh
take.
my gosh, just take his plants.
Yep.
You're not invited, but
Like you're not using them. I, just amazing.
oh my gosh. Well,
Amazing.
what are you working on next? Who is your next, or do you want to try something different? Are you doing?
Yeah, I'm in that stage where it's like, a brand new baby horse just standing up on its little wobbly legs. And so I can't talk about it yet.
Oh, it's a secret.
Hopefully, check back with me and I'll be able to talk about it soon. It'll hopefully be, that part where it's like you can't, say
Right.
anything because it's too, yeah.
Too out there. It hasn't
But yeah, it's
together yet.
not a thing yet. It's on
Yeah.
its being a thing. As soon as it's a thing, I will.
You'll tell everyone.
Yes, I'll tell everyone as soon as it's a thing. I love when it becomes a thing. Isn't it great when it becomes a
It
thing?
is. It is. I call it percolating. Remember those old coffee makers?
Yes.
It's like whoop, whoop, whoop. And to me, that's always the idea is just percolating back there. And sometimes they take years and they percolate while you're writing other books, but
Yes.
hop around back there and you go, oh, there's another piece.
Oh,
All
there it is. That's right.
right.
But until it's like
Until
reached,
it's fully brewed. Yeah.
yeah, can't talk about it out loud or it might go away.
That's true. We don't want it to go away.
I want it to go away.
In doing this book, did you fall in love with any new favorite Katherine Hepburn movies or movies we should go
Oh,
if we can stream or?
if you have ever so from this period, Holiday is wonderful and Bringing Up Baby is wonderful, but Philadelphia Story is my absolute favorite. But from the later periods, if you've ever Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, the speech at the end of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner when Spencer Tracy knew he was dying and he was hoping to survive the filming, and he actually died about 3 weeks after filming. And the last speech, he's said to be giving that speech to her. And the look on her face when it's heartbreaking. And then The Lion in Winter because she's such a badass.
Did when they were doing Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, did anybody else know he was dying? I mean, they were better at keeping Hollywood secrets at that time. Did the cast know that he was sick?
I think the cast knew he was sick and the
Oh,
director knew he was sick, but nobody knew quite how sick. And
mhm.
then that scene, but if you just watch that scene, it's a speech about how much he loves her, and it doesn't feel like it's in the movie. It feels like it's him talking to her, and the
Oh,
look, and then it cuts to her face, and she's just losing it.
oh, and she knows, she can feel
Yeah,
it. Yeah. Wow. Beautiful. Okay. Well, I'm gonna
yeah,
go watch that one.
yeah. It's really, and then Lion in Winter, just because, my God, was she fierce. And just
Yeah.
going up against Peter O'Toole, and the writing is so great, and it's a young Anthony Hopkins, and it's just, oh, it's so good.
Okay, all right. Well, I before we run out of time, I want to talk about the musical about Sylvia. It's interesting to me because it says the book is by you. Is it available as a book or is it just the musical?
So it's actually, there isn't actually a book. It's book and lyrics. So we just wrote the whole thing. So it's the titles are all kind of nonsense, because we just wrote the musical. So it's touring in the UK right now, if you're ever in London in the next
Mhm.
like 6 months, and it ends at the Royal Albert Hall. Kind
Wow. Are
Yeah.
you going to be able to go?
I don't know. I don't know because I'm going over to my husband lives there and my stepchildren live there, and I'm just trying to do a lot in a very short amount of time. So we'll see.
Oh, I hope you get to be there.
I know.
For anyone who doesn't know, Sylvia is it's documenting the life of a suffragette, right?
Sylvia Pankhurst, yeah. But the music is now on, it's, you can download it on iTunes. Or no, not iTunes, whatever it is, Apple Music. What is it called now? Apple
Yeah,
Music.
I think it's Apple Music
Apple.
now. And it's probably on Amazon too, right?
Probably. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So everyone go check that out because it is rare that we have an author that also writes a musical. So very
And yet can't sing. So you have a musical
ah!
back.
Yeah, yeah. I used to sing opera in my
Oh my goodness.
yes, in my younger days. I was in San Diego Opera and comic opera and lyric opera and all.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Before the writing bug hit me, I was a singer. So yeah,
You sing? What kinds of opera? I
yeah.
love opera. Yeah.
Everything. But most of the things I did were with lyric opera, which was Gilbert and Sullivan.
Yep.
So lots of Pirates of Penzance and the Mikado and all of those kind of Pinafore. So yeah, fun.
Really hard stuff.
Yes, yes. But so much fun.
So much fun.
So much fun. But eventually the writing took over and it was like, wow, those rehearsals are a lot. I still sing, but not anything that has to go on stage where you have Hell Week. And it takes, people don't realize, I think, when they go to the theater, how many hours went into that for you to get your fun 90 minutes or
Yes. And
hours.
people were asking me, they were like, were you writing at the same time? And I was like, you've clearly never been through Tech Week, have you? Like,
Oh, yes.
like,
Yeah. It's hard to have any other life.
ask that question. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
But were you a theater kid even though you didn't sing? Did you do plays?
I've always been on the writing side.
Oh,
So so I used to work in film, and then I worked with Eve Ensler, who wrote the Vagina Monologues. And so I was writing yeah, it was all the writing side. So I've never, yeah, it's a really humbling experience being the only person in this huge room of people who cannot sing. Um, which is what it's like to write a musical with people who open their mouth and out comes this insane, whatever noise, and you're just like,
yeah.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
can't do that.
But you know what? Someone has to write the words or what are we going to sing? So
That's
very,
very, very true. I can do the words, and very soon they were like, you don't have to sing it. Just you don't. We got it. Just we got it. We get.
important. Just give us some words.
Yeah, just yeah. It's deeply humbling.
Yeah. Well, you can't be good at everything. I cannot dance for the life of me. I just can't, and I can't paint or draw. But in one of the shows I was in, there was this big scene where everyone was supposed to jump into a polka, and
Oh
Lord
my.
knows I tried. And finally, the director came over and said, "You are choreographically challenged." He said, "We will give you a long skirt and you just skip." I said, "Oh, I can skip." He's like, "Long skirt and skip. Just don't worry about it."
Yeah, that's
it.
no,
not my gift.
we've gotta just do what we can do.
That's right. Lean into your strengths.
Exactly. Writing is mine, and that's about it. But that's it.
Well, when people read the original and they're super excited and they want to contact you, are you on social media? How do they reach out?
Yes, I am on social media. It's Priya Parmar Writing on Instagram, and I've just started Substack.
Oh, okay. Well, I put a link to your website on the show notes. Will they be able to find your Substack on your website?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure, but it's definitely on my Instagram.
Instagram has the link to your Substack.
Instagram has the link to the Substack.
Oh, fun. Will the Substack be the first place that gets to hear what you're writing about next when the idea comes together?
Probably as soon as my editor signs off, then it'll be Instagram or Substack somewhere in there. But it'll usually be both together.
All right. Well, everyone, be sure that you get connected with Priya Parmar on Instagram, her website, Substack, and go grab your copy of the original. It sounds fantastic. And this has been so much fun. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me on. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, and our dogs didn't bark. We did it.
Our dogs didn't bark.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us on Booklights. Be sure to connect with us at www.readersentertainment.com for articles, blogs, videos, and podcasts that matter to readers.